All right, we got the 3 Facebook pages online. Just waiting for YouTube. Oh, there we go. All right, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. We've got a beloved sister back with us for the second time, Kaayla Vedder, and she's come to join us. Delia from Outer Space in the Zoom room, who's here almost every single show. She said she was just getting ready to anchor some energy. I said, "What are you talking about?" She says, "I listen to the stream, and I run as I hear the code and info coming in, both to you speaking and spirit at the same time." Yeah, very cool. Right on. Okay, so let me get our intro going, and then I'll play that, and then we'll come right back with Kaayla and get her up here. Let's see what's happening. What's going on, everybody? We got Kaayla Vedder in the house. She's been on here before about 4 weeks ago, and Morgan thought it would be a great idea to have her back on. I do too. She was very cool lady. Got some great intel, very down to earth. So I'm going to pull her up here. Let me just say to everybody, thank you for the continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep doing this every single day. We are going to be in transit on the 28th, probably the 28th, 29th, 30th. I'm going to try not to miss more than 3 straight days. So, and we'll probably be doing some stuff on the road as well. Morgan's going to be flying. I'm going to be in the RV and heading back over to Arkansas. And we're going to be I'll be documenting some things on the way. So we'll just make it up as we go. That's what we always do. All right, let's get Kaayla up here. And let me go. Let's see. Got you. Oh, there you are. All right. Unmute. How's that? Ah, there you are.
There I am. Hello.
What's up, sister? What's going on? What's happening?
Oh my gosh.
What's shaking?
Right?
Huh?
I said, what's not happening, right?
Yeah, I know, man. This is like getting super cool, super intense.
Yeah.
What's today? Today's what? The 22nd, 5/22.
Second.
So if I go back to 2009, in between the dates of, yeah, like 5/21, 5/22, 5/23. I don't know the exact date the period starts, and it goes till about June the 5th. Have been the biggest has been the biggest period of the year for me. And I there's got to be something to that. I don't mean it's about me. I just mean there's got to be something to it. But there's something about this time period that since 2009, every year has been super incredible, divine episodes. You know, in the early years, it was like not good, you know, and then as it got better. So I don't know. I have a good feeling about the balance of this month and as we go into June. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Just in comment to what you were just saying, was it really not good or did it just perceptively seem not good at the time?
Well, it's when I woke up.
Yeah.
So the first time it was, well, that was 2011, 2009, something very dramatic, you know, drama, chaotic happened. And then in 2011, that's when I woke up, May 30th. So that there was a lot of chaos there, trauma. And then 11, 12, 13, and 14. Of course, 11 and 12 and 13, I was on the streets. And that time period were very dramatic events, like getting in a fight or going to the, lots of different things, right? Won't go there. But I had understood that the 11 through the 14 was like the dive into the abyss. And I was shown that every year after that, it would expand, above the zero, above the line.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's the last thing that I received. So I don't think there's another dissension. I don't. And if there is, it's not in this incarnation. I think we're on that frequency of, like, what do they call, like 1,000 years apiece, 2,000 years apiece.
Yeah, it's definitely speeding up. Everything is speeding up exponentially. And
Mm.
I think what you're talking about too is just it's been a lot of the last hurrah of a lot of the really dark stuff, like
Yeah.
when, uh, going all the way back to like the Vega and the Pashants and just the, draconian levels coming in and creating that
Yeah. Yeah.
duality and that separation, and all that stuff is up to go. And there's a lot of kicking and screaming going on, and there's a lot of just surrendering. And I think,
Yeah.
if we can surrender and recognize that some of the events that have happened for us in the past have assisted us greatly, and then to be able to look at, okay, what's coming up for me now, and if there's connection to that, it's like, oh wow, yummy, I didn't realize I still had that up to go, like holding on to some of those energy blocks,
Yeah.
whether it's around money or speaking your truth, or just trusting in your higher levels. And I think a lot of people misinterpret surrendering. When I'm talking about surrendering, it's not to, these egoic levels where, some people are a little crazy right now, and always have
Mm-hmm.
been. And some people are a little schizophrenic or bipolar, or have their own journey that they're struggling with. So it's not about surrendering uh, in the 3D, so to speak. It's really surrendering to these much bigger activations and amplifications and
Yeah.
integrations that are really wanting to come in. But it brings up a lot of stuff for people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like getting to the point where you have to concede. And it's kind of weird because I am God, right? I am the I am. But at the same time, there's big me and there's other me, right? There's the human. And so you get to the point where you're like, there's something bigger than me. Like, and not just that there's something bigger than me, like blind faith, like
Yeah.
institutional religion, organized religion, but it's more like there's something bigger than me. And if I'll just get the hell out of the way and listen and follow that guidance and nurture it and expand it, it actually works for me.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
not really that it's bigger than you, it's bigger than your ego.
Yeah. Well, I
Really.
don't know, mate. The egos. No, that's a great point.
I
And I
mean,
love what,
that's the thing. You are
yeah,
all of it, right? You are all of
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
You're all of that beautiful Prashant aspect of you that is dropping in and out constantly, and you are all of those angelic realms that drop in
Yeah.
constantly in and out. And it's about really anchoring those in. And this is a big shift that's happening right now. There's lots of unraveling that's happening. There's lots of resetting that's going on. There's lots of people that are presenting right now that had some universal agreements, and hey,
Yeah.
free will's out of the way with that one.
Yeah.
Step aside or don't step aside, it's happening. You agreed to
Yes.
this whether you remember or not. So
That's right.
yeah, it's been really interesting as people's egos have a complete meltdown and freak out.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's a great point, and wow, and you're the one that introduced me to Pashan, by the way, right?
no
You,
way.
yeah, you're the one that brought that word into my field.
Get out of town.
Yeah, on the last show, right?
I am just so surprised by that because you are such a big Pashant.
Yeah, Pashan. I don't know what that's a very extraordinary word, but we'll get back to that. So
Okay.
I love what you brought up. Okay, I love this job because I get to see everything happening connected, you know, like one conversation is actually not two different conversations, right? They just keep going. So it's almost, yeah. But you know what you said about the stuff coming up. So if you look at the spiritual community, there is um there's this element that is really talking about disclosure issues, or we can call them conspiracy issues. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah.
even matter. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, this is, I got to be careful here. I mean, yes, this is important, but shut up, don't
What
say
is it?
anything. Just watch it. Right.
What is it?
That's
Is
the
it
thing.
important? I'm going to be the one that steps out and says, you know what? It's a bunch of crap. It's a
Well,
really
this
beautiful,
is my point.
convenient distraction.
This is what you're bringing up. Okay. For me, this is like connecting the dots. So I look at it and go, okay, what she just said, what she said, what did she say? Is it important? No. I say it is important. Why is it important? Not because of what it seems to be, but what it is mirroring to yourself. Because if you have an issue or a conviction to go out and make the monster bigger, you know, that's really a boomerang. At least it's has the potential to be a blessing to you. There's something in that physical representation that's imbalanced that you're actually seeing because it matches your frequency. So that's not like telling on somebody. That's just basically saying, hey, this is the greatest gift we've ever had. Actually, all this stuff going on, and so many people are getting the shift flushed out, you know, and
Flushing the crap. That's
they're
what I say.
flushing the
You
crap
know,
out.
flush that crap out of there.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot you drop f bombs too. I remember now.
Once in a while,
But
yeah, I do.
but but that's the thing. It's like it's a signal, and it will go away. Those things will go away as we heal ourselves and align ourselves.
Well, and let's just take it down to a smaller picture so that everyone and anyone can relate to this, because not, you know, I don't want to encourage people to go out there and start looking this stuff up, because you know, it's like you said, it's just a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you look at just on an individual basis, a lot of people, when their ego is having a meltdown, they are going to try and find someone, anyone, a person who will validate, justify,
Mm-hmm.
and jump on the bandwagon with them and make them correct. And the reality is, you know, support doesn't really look like that.
Mm-mm.
Support is going, you know, let's just really look at this, and let's look at the fear that this person is actually experiencing to be able
Mm-hmm.
to be you know, so tripped out about something so minimal. And it doesn't seem minimal to that person, but it's like, can we really, you know, step out of the emotions and just see that person as a beautiful light that they are, that's struggling in a lot of fear, you know? And it becomes a distraction. And that whole that whole community of, you know, everything's happening. Well, yeah, there is a lot happening
Mm.
um, energetically, and then it will begin to manifest in the 3D.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of clients coming lately that are just like, you know, I feel like I'm going crazy. This is what I'm seeing. This is what's happening. And then it turns out, oh, well, hey, you've got the key to the Vega skull, which is like the highest of quantum dark that we need to unlock so that we can get this and bring that in and all this stuff. And so it's like really learning how to step into your highest light, into
Yeah.
your highest frequency, and stand in that, and then go, okay, there's a bigger picture here. This is
Yeah.
just a sliver, you know, and it's just like you said, it's a magnification. It's presenting, it will present in 3D, and it can feel really scary,
Yeah.
but it only has power when you step into the dance of all that.
Yeah. Well, and use the operative word, the key word, distraction. Because
Oh yeah.
what does it matter what the distraction is? You know, whether it's, you know, whatever, you know, porn, sex, drug, rock and roll, or watching the Matrix or whatever. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you look out with a telescope. My wife always says, if you look for it, you're going to find it, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
also, you know what I mean? So you look out with a telescope, and there and then and the mirror is a microscope lens looking back at you. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, it's that if I look at and I'm like everybody else, I've gotten rattled a few times by you. Oh my God, does that really happen? Has that been going on? Uh, you know, but it's when I can look at these things and not carry a charge that I know I'm good. So they serve me well, just like certain people. I can look at certain people that have rubbed me the wrong way. Thank you for that gift. And I'll pull them up in my field and say, how's this feel? And every day it gets better and better. Every day I can look at him and see something I couldn't see before, which has got to mean it's got to be something good. And I don't get a charge. I don't want to, like, punch him between the eyes.
Yeah, and I think the thing to remember too is, when we have certain people, whether it's energetically or in the physical, that come into our field, you know, sometimes it's just really your highest aspect reminding you to step into who you are.
Yeah.
Um, because the reality is, when you are in your purest of pure, in the highest, purest divinity of who you are, that stuff can't come into your field.
No.
Implants, they
No.
explode. You know, the da, 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 it's all outside of your field, and
Mm.
that's fine. Hang out, have a blast, but
Like
you don't get
you're
to
like
come here.
Teflon.
Yeah, but it's really, that's what's happening, is this energy has shifted so much. And previously I would step into this really, um, I'm a tracker, I'm a blaster, I'm a clearer. I clear the decks. I still do that, but I do it in a much different way in the last probably 3 or 4 months, because the energy has shifted so much. And that old way of stepping into that, just get out of my way. I
Yeah.
got,
Yeah.
it's not really assisting, it's not really working, and it's dropping your own frequency. So as this stuff starts to clear up, um, those ways just aren't going to work anymore. And
Yeah.
that's what is really happening right now. So
I
even a
like
lot of
that.
people in the spiritual community are kind of struggling a bit,
Yeah.
because it's like, well, how do I do me in this, and who am I now? Because there's so much shift happening, so many activations, so many
Mm-hmm.
downloads, so many amplifications, and really clearing out. Or are you hanging on to it because it's familiar?
Yeah. So this is really good. You're on it today. You're well, and you're describing something that is happening in a way I couldn't have verbalized. But it's like this, like one of those distractions, because that's what they are. Now in the past they could have been a very significant, positive, balanced vehicle, necessary component, personally and collectively,
Yes.
like healing.
Yes.
So you have the wounded healer, right? The wounded healer is a frequency, is an old template that served very well. The world needed that. The world needed for people to transform their own trauma and afflictions into the incredible cosmic medication that it's become, right? But now you have people with all that stuff going in, like you say, right? So you have activation, stimulation, activation, elevation, and so you either really we're all getting put to a place where we're not even going to be allowed to leave our field. That, like, the presence is going to be required. Your presence is required. You're not going to be able to step out there, but there is a lot of fighting as in I don't want to let go of that piece of me, because what's left. And part of that, I
Yeah, and
see
then what
this.
does it do? It
Yeah.
creates, um, it creates things in the physicality that are coming from this galactic level, that are then presenting in the 3D, that are then presenting and manifesting in the
Yeah.
physical body, the energetic bodies, even the bodies of the fur babies around you, or feathered babies. If you have
Yeah.
animals, trust me, they are here to assist, and sometimes they take on stuff. So if you've got something going on with your animal, you may want to, talk to somebody in this spiritual world that can communicate. I can communicate with them. I talk to mine all the time,
Mhm.
and trust me, they share all kinds of stuff. It's really letting go of that. You even need to be healed. You're
Yeah.
not broken.
Yeah.
Nothing's broken. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just a manifestation of energy. So if you can start to, I've had moments, as I'm sure you have, as I'm sure many people have, where they may think they're experiencing a heart attack. And I'm not saying don't go see your doctor if you think that's what's happening. because it really goes into the beliefs and the ability to step into who you are and recognize these pressures, these push points, and be able to embrace all of who you are and step back into the divinity of who you are, so that pressure and so on and so forth can release and clear out and make room for these new anchor points. I mean, we're here to assist. We answered a call. We agreed to this.
That's right.
So
And this is the time we came for.
it,
And
it is.
and these what? These clinging on to what's familiar that no longer serves us would be one way to put it. These egoic projections and behaviors are actually a good sign, I think, because they've kind of got to run their course. And that's what I was going back to the thing about, what you're talking about with the global thing, right? What anything that goes on globally that's affecting everybody is, it does not serve us to give our attention to it. I know that sounds weird and preposterous, right? But it really doesn't serve us, and everybody wants to serve the collective. And the best way we can do it is to thine own self be true, is to handle our business, and miraculously and effortlessly, and it looks like someone somewhat indirectly, we actually have the greatest effect we can have on that situation that was distracting us when we do that.
Yeah, and it's a real, collaboration right now too. This is a group effort, and yes, looking after yourself, but also, you know, being able to ask for assistance, because there's many here who are to assist one another. Um, it's difficult to assist sometimes yourself if you're really, really triggered and you're in that space.
True.
Sometimes you need that assistance from the outside that's just going to really laser focus on what's really going on, and not and really call you out on your stuff, because you can get stuck in your stuff. And
Yeah.
it really is a side by side, a walking side by side, because no matter who it is, if you're assisting someone, whether it's my clients, they're also assisting me,
Yeah.
in expanding and opening up and going into new places and all kinds of stuff. It really is a juicy
Yeah.
collaboration that happens. And if it's anything other than that, it's your ego. So check
Yeah.
it. you
Yeah.
know
And that's it. And yeah, and it's almost like the ego, the spiritual ego. That's even better. Is going through this bunch of little deaths, right? It's like this doesn't work, that doesn't work, and one of them is asking for help, because that's something that you see out there. Is you see, um, I don't need any help. I'm good.
Oh, I
And
got this. I don't
yeah,
need
I
you.
got
I
this.
don't need anybody. It's I
I'm
got
good.
this.
Right.
Or even, it can be around anything. It can be around, assistance with the physical and energetic bodies. It can be
Mm-hmm.
around assistance with abundance,
Mm-hmm.
which is not just about money, but a lot of times it is. And, like we had somebody come here and assist us in planting some bamboo. I'm so excited about this bamboo.
Wow.
Anyways, they came and assisted, and we offered some money, and he got very offended. And I
Really?
was like, and I just looked at him and I just lasered in and I said, "What's your deal, man? It's just energy. Like, you lovingly, gave us some of your energy. We're lovingly giving you some energy." And then it
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will have that block of, well, it's okay. I got this. A cup of coffee here. Let me get that. Oh, no, no, I got it. Hello. If someone says, let me get this, or someone offers something for it to you, just receive it. Just say thank you
Yeah.
and lovingly receive it, because it doesn't necessarily have to do with the delivery person. It really is all source. So it's a balance, and it's not a tit for tat. It's not a, a karmic thing.
Yeah.
It just is really about learning to receive
Yeah.
on all of it, and
Yeah.
getting out of that I got this. I used to be in that I got this. Oh
We
my God.
all we all did. We all did.
Or the
Spa-
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I didn't know until almost, I don't know, almost 2 years into my awakening, when I'm walking the street and I run into my kid every now and then, and he'd be like, "How you doing, Dad?" And I'd be like, "I'm great. I'm good." And then one day I walked away from one of those meetings. I thought, dude, you are not good. You're not okay. People are dying. You're not doing good. You don't, and all that stuff. And I'm like, how can you say I'm good? Why are you saying I'm good? And I think that's part of awakening is you start to look at some of the things you're saying, and you can almost not in your mouth won't even let you do it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But when I started to say, and he'd say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm not good. I mean, I'm going to be okay, but I'm actually not too good." There's something about that admission, showing you're human, that ignites us inside. You know,
Yeah. And I would say 99% of the time, it's not about whatever you think it's about.
true.
It's saying, I'm not good. Well, what are you not good about? What are you resisting?
Yeah,
What's going on? Well,
I
it
don't
really
I
comes
don't know
down to
is an
perception.
acceptable answer too. It's a good
Oh
holding
yeah.
pattern. It's another honest. I'm a human answer,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
yeah,
Something I like to say too is if people say to me, I don't know, I say, oh, that's great. So if you did know, what would it be?
ah,
And it just kind of lightens it up, and it
yeah,
allows,
yeah,
that real connection with the higher mind to come through and assist. So
yeah. Wow, that was a good one. I like that one. I just got a download on that one. Yeah, and but it is. I think it is good. The people. Well, you said something a second ago, and I wanted to go back to it. And oh, the whole thing about okay, distraction and being in our own power. So there's another kind of thing playing out, and that is people going, they're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing this and they're not awake, and you're starting to hear people say, hey, everybody's got their own journey, and it's starting to sink in. And now we look at it, and you start to get this, what like you're questioning, like, what do I want? Well, I want people to let me align myself, heal myself, find my way. And if that means knocking on someone's door for a co-creation or collaboration, then great. But I want to make these decisions. Don't tell me nothing. And you kind of go, oh, this is what I've been doing. I've been saying this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you're ugly, you need to gain weight, whatever the case is, right?
yeah,
We've been that which we were pointing out, and I think now we're starting to get this, that it's all coming back to us, and the universe somehow is either going to force us there, or we can have the choice to flow into it moment by moment.
yeah. And I think it's just, you know, it's so, it can be so, that ego can be so blinding, you know, that need to know, that need to understand with the little pea brain of ours, the
Mm,
the need to get it, the need to, well, she, you know, she hears energy like this, or she sees energy like that. How come I don't do that?
mm,
Let go of what the heck everybody else is doing. What is presenting for you?
yeah.
Let go of the judgments and recognize the judgments you're having on others are really about you. They have nothing to do with anybody
Yes.
else. And
Yes.
one of the beautiful things is, if you can sit back and say, okay, if it's never, ever, ever about the other person, what's great about this I'm not getting? Because it's never about the other person,
No.
ever. It's a trigger. And it's
No.
like you're being shown there's something there to move. There's some energy that's stuck. There's something. And to let go of that comparison, and yeah, everybody is on their own individual journey. And I think sometimes as, you know, people who assist others by sharing their gifts, sometimes they can get stuck in that hope and that expectation. And it's really about doing what you do without any expectation and letting them have a complete meltdown if that's what they're choosing to do. Some clients they'll freak right out and be like, well, how is this helping me in the 3D and blah, 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 blah. And they start losing their noodle. And it's just like, okay, well, we're triggering a whole bunch of stuff here as we're
Mm,
pulling out some of these old ways, some of these
yeah.
molasses like tar that's been stuck.
Yeah.
And it's just having compassion and loving people regardless of where you think they should be at. Just love them.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were talking about this in the last show with my friends, and they're very active in at a local level as well as on the internet. So
Hmm.
they're part of I don't know how big it is. It's in California, Ventura County, so it's got to be pretty big. So it's a spiritual community, like a spiritual center, congregation. They do the music, the whole nine yards. They're very, very involved. And they had a situation where, because of the music, their participation in the whatever you call it, the sermons or whatever, uh, they were told, if you're going to, they weren't asked to leave or anything like that. They were just told, you can't come and participate as you normally do unless you wear a mask. And they said, we can't do that. Right. Anyway, back to your point. So they had a very classy, relaxed, mature relationship. I mean, a conversation with the principals, and shook hands and parted company for the time being. For the time being, in the physical. Now, they described it as, we get it, we see it. They weren't spiritually egoic. They just said, it's hurt us, but we feel like we've got our arms around them, and we're just going to hold space because we know this thing's just starting to play out, right? And I
So
think, yeah,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question with regards to that. You know, where's the harm in uh, wearing a mask to allow dear brothers and sisters who are at a different part in their journey to
Mm,
relax into their journey? Where's
mm,
the harm in that? Why is there
mm,
a need to be right instead of just saying, hey, you know what? I see you. I see the pain that you're experiencing. I see the fear that you're in. And I love you so much. And yes, if it's going to help keep you out of those fear based waiting stations, I will lovingly wear a mask. I will wash my hands. I will stand
mm,
6 feet from you. You know, we as as all humans, we really need to be honoring each other,
mm,
regardless of where we're at in our journey. And if that means, wearing a mask, washing your hands, carrying a can of Lysol, whatever it is, you know, um,
mm. That's tricky.
love them up.
Well, it
Love
works
them up.
both. I guess it works both ways.
You
But
don't have to convince them of anything
no,
any
no, no.
more than they got to
But
convince
but
you.
if it hurts somebody's soul, and what I mean by that is, if I, for instance, look at, like, I won't wear one, and I'm not trying to make a statement to anybody. It's none of their goddamn business. It's my business. My business is, I see this, and this is only my opinion, and this is a program, like everything else. It's a distraction, like everything else. I'm
Yeah.
in charge of this thing, and I refuse to do that. I won't go in a place like that. But it's because at some point, I think we are embodying all this incredible information that we've been given and that we are, which isn't effective unless we embody it. And now I think we're going to be driven to a point where we're going to have to choose. Are you going to participate in this university that's run its course, or are you going to actually anchor in and embody New Earth by making decisions that involve your physicality? So it could be no different than somebody wants to give you a vaccination or put a chip in you or whatever the case is. I don't get into all that stuff, but I don't know. I can see both sides. I can see what you're
So,
saying. Yeah.
well, a place that I go to and I've often gone to with, certain people receiving assistance through Western medicine, if that's what's presenting for them and they've tried every other avenue, it's the same divine, beautiful
True.
encodements and activations that are coming through that those very scientists that assisted in creating this place so people can be less and less in their fear bodies. And really, some of those beautiful beings are actually upgrading and re-encoding, as
True.
many are recoders and they recode these very things. So it's like, by just doing that, you're still dancing in the fear of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just relax into this. Listen, your higher levels, the aspects of who you are, the divinity of who you are, none of this stuff it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. It's, again, it's just that distraction. And And there's a lot of energies right now really kicking up some dust because the gig's up.
Mm-hmm.
The gig is up and it's happening on all levels. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think if we can just really have compassion with one another. I mean, okay, I'm going to give you an example. And this is, this isn't to do with this corona stuff, or maybe it is a little bit, I don't know. I'm walking my dogs, okay, and we're at the end of a really big walk, and I've got a rescue dog here. He's pit crossed with, I think, Catahoula. Not really sure. Seen him climb a tree. Pretty sure it's Catahoula Hound or something. Anyways, we're walking, and it's like something out of a Western movie. All of a sudden, this big Jack Russell comes out in the middle of the road and just is like, and he's looking, and I swear I hear this doo 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 doo.
Like the good, bad, and the ugly.
Right, and I'm kind of laughing, and I my daughter's with me, and we've got three dogs, two smaller ones, and I said, hey, give me the big guy, and give me the smallest one. She's the worst of them all. And I'm talking to her. I'm like, just settle down, like I'm having these conversations, and she's got the one that's the most calmest. Anyways, the whole point is this dog ends up coming over, getting intertwined with the calmest dog of them all. How can you not?
Keep going.
Oh,
Your
sorry.
your volume dropped. I thought it
Oh,
was.
how's
That was
that? Is
weird.
that better?
No, it's like the mic got disconnected.
Oh,
Hmm.
fun interference. Anyways, um, shall I continue or
There's a man outside the RV here. You go ahead and continue. Let me see what he
really?
wants. Oh, yeah, he looks. Keep going. Can you talk? Are
I
you?
can talk.
Are you?
Oh, you want me to
Yeah,
keep talking?
your
I'll talk.
volume went down. I don't know what happened.
Is it back up?
No, I mean I can hear you, but it's not like it was. That's cool.
Oh,
Keep
that's
going.
kind of
Let me
weird.
just double check and make sure this guy's not up to something because it was kind of
Yeah.
weird.
All right, you check. I'll keep talking to keep everybody entertained because we are live. And, this is a fun thing when you do a lot of energy work and you shift and assist and move stuff and shake the tree a little bit and shake stuff out and start to anchor in some new higher encodements. Things start to happen and they do manifest in the 3D. And so it's just, getting back into your beautiful divine center and recognizing that it's just outside of you, it's not coming in. As long as you can really connect with that divinity, that purity of who you really are, and let all this other stuff go. But they will come knocking on the door, so as you can see, um, I can see the light shifting, so he's probably coming back in. Here we go. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, what'd you do? You
I just
figured it
moved
out?
a little bit of energy. I was
There
just
you go.
explaining to everybody while you're gone, that's the joy of doing what we do and working in this capsule of yumminess. A lot of times we're shaking stuff up, we're moving some things around, we're anchoring in stuff, and things will present in the 3D convenient distractions
Yeah,
to try and keep that from happening, but that's not what's happening. So
I got you. I get that. I
anyway,
get what you just said. And that was really strange because I lived on the street, so I kind of have an eye for things, right? And this guy, I think, was homeless, and and I think he walked up to the door. I think Morgan's in a session. And then he came over here and he stood in front of the window, as and he had his head down. He wouldn't look
yeah,
me in the eye,
yeah.
and I don't know. There was something to that. There's something,
Couldn't look you in the eye. Listen, there's lots
huh?
of beings that are presenting through others at this time, especially some of these ones that are dancing in the lower frequencies. Bless their hearts. They really are assisting, and there are many beings that are coming through others, um, which was kind of what I was sharing about with these dogs. This
Oh
woman
yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
two kids. She had maybe a 5 or 6 year old and an I don't know 9 year old, and their dog who's like small but thinking it's huge, and I'm holding my dogs and she's trying her best to get this dog. She can't get this dog, and I said, I'm just going to let you know, you really need to get a hold of your dog because I've got this pit bull. He's 70 pounds. He's behaving himself. He's talking to me, and he's starting to twitch his one ear, and I'm like, ooh, and she just lost her noodle. She turned around and was like yelling at me, and I just said, hey, just do the best you can, get your dog, and just you get to jump in and buy into this stuff, but it was obvious she was just in so much overwhelm. You know, two kids, a dog, her dog gets out, running across the road, picking a fight, the dog's showing you, this is how I'm feeling. I'm picking up on all this energy and it's trying to express it. And so I think if we can just all just really take a breath, and it's not worth it, you know.
Yeah. What did you mean by, because it's something clicked? Uh, there are many beings presenting themselves through physically incarnated beings, is basically what you're
Yeah.
saying. So
Oh,
there's many beings presenting themselves, and I've had experiences like that, very much similar to what this gentleman looked like.
yeah.
Like you even told, like that, like I remember one time I stopped at a truck stop, and I was actually about 30 minutes from having probably a very bad wreck that I walked away from, which was kind of incredible. But what happened was I stopped at this rest stop, and it was a big truck parking lot, and I had to park in the corner because it was so packed. So as I was getting into my car, as I was getting into my car, I smelled this funk, and I looked to my right, and there was a man that looked a lot like this gentleman. And I don't remember what he said to me, but I just remember, like pulling a $5 bill out and saying, "Here you go." By the time because I walked to the edge of the car, handed him the thing, I said, "I got to go." Walked to the car, which was like 6 steps, started to put the key in, looked up, he's gone. He was absolutely gone. And I heard later, and this is before I was more confident in, because I hadn't officially woken up, that was an angel, you know? So back to what I was asking you, these beings that are presenting themselves in physical incarnations, is it all over the board, all different types of energies? Or is it certain energies that are maybe following the same pattern of the ego and resisting and fighting as this thing turns upside down?
Yeah, like it's all of it. Look, we all have, you know, many different aspects of who we are, and it's not like they've been hijacked. It's like an aspect of them is
Mm,
running the vehicle,
mm,
and if they're dropping the frequencies and dancing in the muddy waters, you know, by many different means of doing things, whether it's fear, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's all of that, whether it's talking shit about people, whether it's, whatever it is. And even those who are on the path of awakening and that journey of remembering who they are, they also hold these aspects. Look, I've had some really interesting aspects that I've had to integrate and upgrade, either that or completely release and relinquish and transmute to light back through the celestial levels. But the thing is, there's many beings that are presenting. You know, I've had full, really close family members who, I look up and I'm like, whoa. And I'm literally looking at a draconian, like right in the eye, to the point
mm-hmm.
of the eyes are a different color. And I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. See ya. Because they're not looking for assistance. There's sometimes these things happen to assist. But it's really just, uh, it's not always a mirror. I think we get caught in this, everything's a mirror, and it's not always a mirror. Because if that was the truth, I would be experiencing all kinds of illness and
Mm,
spiritual schizophrenia and whatever it is people present to me with. It's not always a mirror. But if you can go beyond what that is and
yeah,
go, okay, I see me and you see you and me, and that's the thing, is we are all of each other. We are all of the one.
yeah,
So I struggle a little bit with the mirror thing, that everything's a mirror, because that's not necessarily true.
yeah. Maybe
Maybe that
something's
your
being,
brother
yeah.
just
I mean,
showed up.
there's times something's being presented to you.
Yeah.
Something's being shown to you. Angel in the parking lot. You
Yeah.
walk away. You walk away from an accident you shouldn't have. Or uh, what are you going to do? Kind of a choice point, you know.
Or you have an experience where you experience illness. I mean, I had that years ago, I was going out the door, you know, like
Hmm.
I had two young girls. I was a single mom. Um, Smacked me down like, this is it. I lost 40 pounds in probably 30 days.
Wow.
And things were not looking great, but I was really being pushed for a complete reset. And I got to look a lot of things in the face, and I really, you know, said, enough of this. I'm not hiding anymore.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is what I see.
Yeah.
This is what I assist with. I get it. Okay, enough already. I get it. And then it was just like this whole breath of fresh air came through me, and it 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 was just like, okay, here you go. Now do it.
Wow. I
And that
love this. I love this metaphor of. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done. There's a lag.
No, I was just going to say it was just the start of really stepping in. Um, I wouldn't say fearlessly at that time, but definitely stepping in and, dipping my toe in the water as far as sharing and then starting my own business.
You were embracing and um, putting into motion your yourself without any reservations. I mean,
Yeah.
I
And I mean,
love
I was
this.
in corporate sales, and then,
Yeah.
everything started to shift at the same time I was going through all this. And people I was working with were saying, like, are you okay? Like, are you dying? My mom coming to me and saying, are you dying? And I was like, hey man, everybody's dying. The minute you're born, you start dying. I said, yeah, I'm getting through it. I didn't tell a lot of people what was going on, but obviously you can tell when somebody drops that much that much padding. It's like, what? But it
Mm-hmm.
it really was a push and a kickstart and a redirect, because
Mm-hmm.
it was like, hey sister, this isn't what you signed up for. You didn't sign up for this corporate world. You didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
As much
Yeah.
as I loved the people, it really was trusting
Yeah.
that everything continues to come together.
That trust thing is huge. That
It
that
really
tr-
is.
to me that well, truth and is can't even say that word, but is trust. So truth, trust. So like truth is like a noun or whatever that is. That's more than that. I guess it's a frequency. It's something everybody can pick up on. And then trust is like what you operate with. So we have we've created this environment where that went out the window. And you can look at male female relationships as the most basic example, right? Because of the conditioning and the roles and all that. So to me, this is part of what further activates the New Earth grid is in our own embodiment, trusting as we go, which is going back to what you were saying earlier about let that person over there find their own way. Let them heal themselves. You know what I mean? Give them that which you want for yourself. There's a level of trust when you allow a person and you look away and don't look back, right? You know what I mean? I mean it's not easy because we've been in a codependent paradigm which served us, and it wasn't all bad. It just we've outgrown it. It's outgrown now, so it's affecting everything. It's affecting, well, you were talking about, it's affecting how energy practitioners do work now. How people have what is an equal energy exchange. That whole
Get
thing that
over it, right? It's like, get over it. Like, it'll all balance out. Come on, you guys.
yeah.
Listen, the other thing that just is coming up really strongly while you're saying that is, there's many of us who are on different paths, and that is true for everyone. Like, whether you're in a relationship, a partnership, or anything like that. And what's coming up right now to share is that, you know, it's really important to be aware of your partner, where they're at in their journey, and provide them. They're just showing me, like with my husband, he listen, I see stuff that's beyond. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so out there, like so wide out there. And I share stuff with him, and sometimes he looks at me, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, and that's okay. I'm not asking you to fix anything or do anything. I'm just sharing, a little bit about my day or what's coming up. And, you know, there was a point in our journey where I had to say to him, hey, you know, I want you to come with me on this journey. We were going somewhere and it was going to be quite a spiritual thing, and I was very aware of it. And he was like resisting going. No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You just go. I'll set it all up. You just go. I'll, blah blah blah. And I said, hey, what's really going on here? And I tapped into that, and I was like, I went up to him and I said, you know what? I said, you love going to a hardware convention. I don't love going to a hardware convention, but I love going because you love going. And I love
Mm,
going there with you. And I love holding your hand. And I may not understand that faucet or that new contraption to hammer that thing in or this or that and blah, blah, blah. And who cares?
mm,
Like, and when I go on these things, I want you to come with me because you love me and you
wow.
just want to be there beside me. You don't have to get it. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to know it. Because right now, a lot of people who are on this path of, you're calling it healers, I just say expanders. I don't feel that anybody's broken and needs to be fixed,
True.
but they're on this
True.
path. And you know a lot of times there's this separation, like, oh, I got to do this on my own. And we kind of talked about that again, so it's coming up again. It's just creating that space for for the love to come in on all levels.
Yeah.
You don't have to get it. I don't
That's
get
right.
you. You're you, I'm me.
Yeah.
You really, I mean, do you ever really get somebody else?
How can you get someone else if you don't even totally get yourself? And who he who gets themselves totally would be the one walking on water, in my opinion. But I want to go back to what you said earlier because I think it's all related. Talk to us about spiritual schizophrenia.
What did I say about spiritual
Well, what?
schizophrenia?
Well, I'm getting it because I'm getting it all up
Yeah,
here, and I'm hearing
yeah.
you, but there's something there. And what I'm, what it was when we were talking about energies presenting themselves through physical incarnations that we encounter. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's almost like this. Okay, so some people, one of the schools of thought is we are seeded by 12 different races. I'm just trying to draw a metaphor. All right. One of them's reptilian, one's Pleiadian, da 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 da. Each one of those has certain characteristics. So in theory, we would have 12 characters within ourselves, right? Um, when you were talking to me and you were talking about your situation that you ran into as a single mother and
Mm.
losing the 40 pounds, I started to see what you were doing. What you were doing was saying, hey, you're all part of me. I'm not going to dispossess any of you. I may not understand you. I may not even like you, but you're a part of me. We're the team. I'm in the command, and you can all talk, but we're going to move forward in a unified front. So I guess in with that being said, and you referenced it because you have people come in that have what you termed as spiritual uh, what did I say? Whatever you said, schizophrenia,
I don't know
spiritual.
what we said, but I get
So,
what you're saying.
what have you? I'm just curious. Like, what have
Yeah.
you encountered in your clients that have had that? You know.
Oh, absolutely. And just to let hey, there's a whole lot more than 12 races.
Oh, I know. I know. I was
Like,
just
wow.
yes. That's why I
And
said I'm just
and
drawing
that's
a
the thing
metaphor.
is there's many, 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 many aspects of who we are,
Yeah.
and many different levels, some very galactic, some very lower frequency, all there's so many different aspects. Some of them are just to be unplugged and released, relinquished, completely transmuted to light. Others are to be removed. Others are to be embodied and upgraded. Others already are upgraded. And when you get to that space of standing in your divinity, they're just dropping in. You're anchoring that aspect in. So there's many different aspects of who we all are. And I would say when I went through that experience, no, I did not embody all of it. Some of it I was like, hey, you're out of here, this is
Hmm.
not cool. Like, I could see it coming. And it was actually my husband who had said to me, as a boyfriend at the time, he had said, when you start to feel that nauseous or
Mm-hmm.
nausea or whatever, uh, he said, do just have a look around and see what you see. And I was
Your
like,
husband said this?
well, he was my boyfriend at the time, but
Well,
yeah,
I know, but the
yeah,
hardware guy. He said,
yeah.
"Look around. That's pretty sharp."
Well, because he knew at that point. When I met him, I was so over trying to be whoever anybody needed me to be. I tried to scare him away, and it didn't work. He's still here, so I shared all of it. And anyways, I saw this aspect of myself, which really was what do you call that? Gosh, it was so long I don't remember what's called. Like the death, the hood,
Mm-hmm.
the
Grim
angel
Reaper.
of death was just coming,
Yeah.
coming. And I literally, he said to me, he goes, step aside. I mean, just that simple, step aside. And I went, huh. And I stepped aside. And then I was like, oh. And it was like choosing, okay, yeah, you don't get to do this anymore. And then it was just, it continues from there, but there's so many levels of so many things. But right now, there's so much up to go. And that's, really clearing the decks. And that's what I know my purpose is. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm here, is to assist people in clearing the decks, in,
Yeah.
really getting beyond the superficial levels and the veils and the, you know, the scripts and all that, and just really running through it and releasing all the density, the lower frequencies, and really pulling from them those beautiful higher encodements and lighting them up so they can really stand more in who they are, so they don't have to go through all
Mm.
the stuff. But there's got to be a willingness to step up and step in, and a lot of people, their
Which means
egos will start to flip out,
look at your stuff.
which means, like, you know, give your ego a really weak name and say, thanks, I'm doing this anyways, and just carry
Mm-hmm.
on. But at least recognize when it's your ego, because
But I mean, can we? Let's say this is kind of. Is there always an unconscious part of the ego yet to be found? I mean, when you say just face your ego, but what if you don't know? Or, are we
well,
in a
that's
space
part of the
now?
journey of waking up, is
That's what I was
choosing.
going to say. Are we in a space now where, because there's a school of thought that the ego was an artificial implant, so to speak. This is
It
again
is.
metaphoric. Okay,
It
that
is.
was
It's an
that.
actual contraption.
Yeah, yeah. So
It,
that was connected to the projection of an inverted matrix.
yes.
Okay, and so that stopped, and the ego's basically dying many deaths, and it's because it's not being supported anymore, other than by the computer systems that are running it, because the big projector's off now. So
There is that. It's just,
okay.
if you look at, like, when the karmic wheel completely dilapidated and fell apart and was just disgusting, I could see it, and I was like, why are these clients still coming to me and they have all this karma attached to them? And then what I was shown was, well, as long as they're still believing in it,
Yeah.
as long as they're still buying into that program and that belief system, well, guess what? They still get to pack it around if they choose to.
Yeah.
And it's similar to the ego. And, it really is an unhooking and a uh, disassembling. And I do work on certain people in unhooking that mechanism and disassembling. But there also has to be, all things have to line up. And it's like, if you're doing this kind of work, and all of a sudden it's like, well, how can that work the last time? And every time I try and flip this thing down, it pops back up, and I flip it down and it pops back up. Okay, stop, you're missing something. Everything's not in alignment yet. You know where you need to go, but then there's going to be more things open up for you to assist with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's many things that need to be in alignment for that to happen, and a lot of that is free will and choice. But
Yeah.
some of the stuff we talked about earlier, like the agreements we came in with,
Yeah.
there is no free will in that. When it's time, and it's happening, whether you're ready or not.
That's what's happening now, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's like yeah, somebody you know rang the dinner bell, or hollered in the holler, right? I mean, it's like the call has gone at, the call, as people talk about, there was a clarion call from Mother Earth. We
Yes.
came from all in, but now
You dropped
there's
everything
not,
and came in.
yeah.
But here's the kicker
Hmm.
that not everybody remembers is they also had keys that they have hidden within themselves to assist in unlocking some of these other levels of things. And so it's like there's skull levels, there's keys that this person might have that is a key to this other person over here that has brought in something else, and it's this whole big puzzle. Now I'm really glad that I don't need to keep track of all that stuff because that's not my purpose.
Right, right.
I know why I'm here to assist in finding the keys and removing the stuff that's in the way,
Yeah.
as well as assisting the person who is in that physical body to really unlock and open up and really embody, embrace, and integrate those other aspects of themselves, which naturally start to come in once these things are moved out of the way.
Right on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I
Good
hope
conversation. I like this conversation. No, I love that, and I love that because I'm seeing the imagery. Okay, so if my body is however that works beyond the human only conceivability, my body is the universe. My body's everything, right? Uh,
yeah.
so if I look at my body and then let's just say I personalize it a little bit, and in the okay, so this seed, this characteristic is from my reptilian lineage. This is from my Pleiadian. This is Arcturian. This is dragon. This is you know what I mean. Okay, so if I look at the outer, what's going on in the outer, and I'm talking about everything from Lisa Renee's Ascension Glossary to what's going on in the world, the whole polarity and duality thing, and then some of the things you said, and what's contained within myself that's not foreign to me. All right, uh, I can transform any of this. Is there really anything that's mine that I will expel and send into the light, or am I actually taking, let's just say, a dense, dark, uh, clogged up part of me and transforming that, like you said earlier, transforming that to to a
Yeah.
higher.
That's a great question. And the thing is, yeah, some of it you're not actually continuing to have within any of your energetic levels. The gig's up, it's over. And so when I say transmuting, it's what I get to see happens with that energy. It's
Yeah,
either it's going a couple of places, but it's being removed from from your being,
yeah,
because it's not of service, and the energy shifted, so it's no longer
yeah.
of assistance in any way. It's like it's kind of done what it's meant to do, and it's time to move it out of the way because now it's just getting in the way.
Can you imagine?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you. I'm just thinking too now, like, I don't think anybody has any idea. We're going over a little bit. Is that okay?
Oh
Are
yeah,
you
sure.
okay? Okay. So, like, I don't think anybody, I mean, I just don't see how anybody, I don't care who you are, what your intel is, has any idea what this is going to look like. And I mean that in the best way. I don't mean it like, oh, doom and gloom. I mean, like, holy shiitake mushrooms, I can fly, but I think one of the things that'll be interesting because of the way that colors and wavelengths and vibration and sound and tonalities, are starting to come into play in the what'd you call it? The expansion industry, the alignment industry. But is that we'll be able to see these things. We'll be able to see what's happening without somebody narrating it, but actually see the colors align, see the rainbow.
That's the thing. So many people are just like, they show up, they just want to lay down and have somebody tell them who they are.
Yeah.
That's not what this is.
No, no, no,
And
no,
if
no.
you're looking for that, I don't know who you need to go to, but
That's another great description. That's what I was talking about at the top of the show, and you just put it in a better way to see it. And that is, if you're the practitioner, there, the more you know, the more you see, right? So there was a time when that was necessary. But if you're a practitioner and you're allowing that to occur, you're not going to be supported. That's not going to
Yes.
work. It's going to go away.
Well,
So,
it'll
yeah,
go sideways on you in a
of
hurry.
course, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's really, okay. So sometimes for some of those young souls that really haven't had many incarnations on this particular planet, they're the ones that just kind of bip along. They've got a nice job and they've got a dog and a husband and a kid, and they're just like, do, 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 everything's good. And they have no, they have no.
is that would that be the characteristics of a young soul? I'm curious. I mean, is it
Well, I mean, that's been my experience. They just
okay?
really don't have any, they don't have any desire to learn more. They don't have that urge. It's just, they're just having an experience. This is,
Okay, I
wow,
got you.
this is kind
I
of tricky.
got you.
So they're
Yeah,
just dipping along. Some of those people might show up to a practitioner, and for sure, but you know what? They're probably not going to come back.
yeah,
It's just it's not their purpose. Um, so I feel that you're really doing people a disservice if you're not saying, sharing with them, hey, you know, this is what I do. This is how
yeah,
I'm assisting.
yeah,
The rest is up to you.
yeah.
You got to step up. You got to choose to step into this, because many of us work on people, and then, a month later, maybe 2 weeks later, they come back and they've pulled half of what you moved, and they pulled it back out of that
Hmm.
comfort,
Yeah,
but they're still saying, okay, what can I do differently? How can I shift this? And then others who are just like, oh, you're going to just keep pulling the same stuff. I don't want to do that. That's
yeah,
boring to me.
yeah.
So yeah,
Shifter, get off the pot.
right?
Right.
Shift or get off the pot. I love that. I'm going to have to use that. Shift or get off the pot.
Yeah. Well, it's
People,
true.
shift or get off the pot. I love that.
It's true. Morgan
Yeah.
told me. Morgan told me. She's been doing it 20 years, and she would tell me when I first met her. This isn't like new. I mean, so it'd been like 2015. She said, let me tell you what I do. I'm like, oh, okay. So she started telling me how she does energy work, but she said, I will only see somebody at the most 3 times, normally twice, sometimes once, but I'm not going to see them beyond that. This isn't a, you know, a
But why
uh,
would you cut them off at that position? I mean, I see people sometimes monthly, sometimes every 6 weeks, and wow, they're really stepping up, expanding, opening up, and bringing in and anchoring in, and here to assist humanity by assisting themselves. So I think sometimes our
mhm.
egos get in the way of really, like creating those boundaries of assistance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I meant in regard to what you were saying. Like if
Yeah,
when somebody comes back 2 weeks later and they pulled half of the stuff in
yeah,
that you
yeah.
released.
Well, you want to have that beautiful conversation of, hey,
Yeah.
but also give them some tools that they can
Yeah.
use to assist themselves. And that's something that I share with clients. And then when I connect back up with them, I'll say, hey, out of all that stuff we shared, about things you could do to assist yourself, did you do any of those things? Oh, okay. So,
Do
you know,
you have do you have the ability? I'm not really directing this at you. Like it's more like your opinion, but I'll use you as the guinea pig.
all right.
Do you have the ability to see yourself as well as you can see the field of somebody else? Like if somebody steps into your office, or your field, and you're going to conduct a session, you scan them and you see certain things. And I know that may not be exact, but you know what I mean?
It's pretty
Can,
close.
can you can you do that to yourself, or can people generally do that to themselves as easily as they can do it with others?
Okay. They can do it for themselves as
Mm.
easily. No, because your ego might get triggered. So it depends on where you're at in the journey, but also it can be quite uncomfortable when certain aspects come through, and there's something big that's about to happen, and something needs to shift here, but you also know, okay, it's going to open something up over here, but I don't know what is over here, or who it
Yeah,
is over here, or how that's going to happen. And
the
that's where,
crazy ant in the attic.
right, and that's where it's asking for assistance from
Yeah,
somebody who can connect those dots, because yeah, we all experience, like, okay, I was experiencing this massive pressure on my throat, been going on for over a year. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Thyroid's okay. Yeah, thyroid's okay. Okay, what's going on here? And it was just, finally with these new communication grids, I have this beautiful box that has just recently, literally in the last week, come online. And the 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 communication level with all walks of life, whether here in a body on
That's
this
crazy.
planet or outwardly, there's this box, and it's beautiful, and it's beyond gold. I don't know what this material is. It's not of this place, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the more it comes online and the more things start to happen, it starts to lighten up and it starts to feel better. But now what I'm experiencing is, if I'm working with somebody, and I've had to kind of get through this recently, is if they've got some lower aspects and they're trying to keep this down, because
Yeah.
this is really opening up. It's not about me. It's about humanity, and it's really assisting and anchoring in those higher communication
Yeah.
templates that are now in place, as well as shifting the frequency of all languages, whether it's light language, music, however it comes through, beings, anything. It's all walks, or flights, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I will feel that almost like somebody's like trying to push on it or pull it down, and it's like, oh, who's this now? And then it's, oh, I got to get back into my highest aspect, and then it just goes out.
Yeah.
But I could get stuck in that, oh, this feels really weird, and and the more you get into that, more attention you give it, the more your frequency drops, and you
Yeah.
have that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like you're constricting your muscles,
Yeah. And
your
so
energetic muscles. Yeah.
you might need to go and get some assistance and say, hey man, I
Yeah.
need to clear this stuff
I'm
out.
blind to I'm blind to this. I can't figure it out.
Right. And so you get your assistance, and then it's like, okay, now I know how to do this. I'm
That's crazy though. I'll tell you why, because on this previous show, the couple, they're performers, they're artists. That's part of
yeah,
what they do.
yeah.
And so she had developed this what, I don't know what you would call it, alignment series, where
Yeah.
through tonality, through the voice box, basically, uh, connecting with the chakras, and you bring into alignment, and there's colors and this and that. And I was telling her, I said, that resonates, because this is what I do. And this is very recent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I come into the little, after, into the RV, the little temporary man cave, and I put on the earphones, and might put on some music or might not, some instrumental. And then
Mm-hmm.
I started doing this stuff with my voice. And I was telling her that I found this spot, and it's like a button, and it's in the voice box, and it's new, and it feels new. And it's like, when I can go there, and I could be chanting, I could be rapping, I could be speaking, whatever melody, anything. But when I can get there, something starts to happen. Now, I see a lot of gold, and I see a lot of blue and white, but very, very like starry,
Yeah.
very brilliant, illuminating, right? And so it's the same kind of thing that you're talking about. I can
It's
feel it.
it's
It's
the
like,
higher frequencies
I
of the
wonder what
half
that
orc.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder
It's
what that is, and I
well, it's
wonder. Yeah,
sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, I wonder what that is. God, this is cool. So I wonder what that is. And like you, for instance, and people, they can scan the body. They're seeing uh, what we might term the non-physical. Let's say it's outside of the spectrum of visible light, but they're able to see it because they've got that ability. So I wonder if these things are going to take on a physicality, or you know what
Um,
I mean? Like,
I think, okay, first I want to say everybody has the ability. It's really just stepping into who you are, and it may present in a different way than the way you see it or I see it, or but
mm-hmm.
everybody has the ability. We are all of that one again, but these upgrades that are happening too, um, with this new communication being anchored in, we are really going back to some beautiful blueprints of a much higher frequency. And I think, I don't know that it's ever going to be something that manifests in the physical. And I have seen this recently in the 3D. I was really guided to do some work on clearing the Ramtha energy. And what I found were many people in the old energy had actually taken people's voice boxes, and there was this whole purification process that was happening back through the celestial levels, and then all these beings started showing up, and these clean, clear voice boxes were being brought back into who they are. So they were really like just aspects of them that they had given away when they gave away their power by laying down and saying, you tell me, you tell me who I am. You tell me what my purpose is. You tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. And that was, some of the old energy. And there was a lot of ego involved with some of these people,
Yeah.
and in anyways, so that recently happened. So I'm wondering if that is what you're referring to, because that literally happened in the last week.
Yeah, well, me too. Because I play around a little bit, like if I want to unwind, but I haven't made or created anything musical. I call them soul speaks in 2 years.
Yeah.
But this happened like in the last week, and
Hmm.
I've done it like 4 times. Right, I've come in here like
Yeah.
4 times and just go for 20 minutes to 45 minutes. But when she started talking about what she was doing, something popped in and I started to watch it. And I thought, oh, that's what I was experiencing, which I hadn't really even seen that way. I hadn't conceptualized it. I hadn't I certainly hadn't spoke it, but I hadn't even seen it up here. But when she
Yeah.
said that, and then when you said that, I thought, oh, well, there's something to this. And I'm a big believer with what I do and what I've been doing for a few years in the power of this, the
Oh
power of
yeah,
that.
the communication.
There's something about, you have, of course, you have a sound and you have, what you can see and so on and so on. People put out all these types of expressions. But what I've noticed in the work that I do from the get go, and I first noticed it about myself when I would sit down to make some music, right? There was something about that it was almost like a catalyst of the alignment. So there's all this stuff, you put all these frequencies together, and then that spot kind of marries everything. I don't know.
So
It's
I'm having a little chuckle because I'm like, okay, so I'm seeing how we were brought together and to share in this platform, but there's so much more going on, as I'm sure you're very aware. Um, but it's really kind of cool is the, you know, the voice box that we're talking about, and the same one that you're kind of talking about. And you mentioned earlier, you said, oh yeah, you like to drop bombs too. And but then you say like, oh, shiitake mushrooms, and you know, because here's the thing, this new energy coming online, it's really quite eloquent, and it
yeah,
really is connected to the higher divine
yeah.
feminine. I'm not talking about the feminine
No,
here.
I know what you mean. You're
Yeah.
exactly right, and that's
And
why.
so
I
it's
mean,
almost like it almost creates a pang of pain when, and not to say that when you say those words or I said those words that has anything stuck behind it. It's always intention behind a word that will create that lightning bolt. But when you're a really powerful expanded being and you start to drop those words, and you're also connecting to this higher divine
I
feminine through
get you.
this new box, it really causes people to step back and kind of like, you know retreat and not want to be a part of that. And it's really about this new eloquence and uh, softness, and not in a weak way. It's
No,
very,
it's a very powerful point. It's
it
almost
really is.
like because it's not, and it is
It's a much
it's just
higher frequency.
well, it's that connection, and we got this a long time ago. We got this 2 years ago, 2 years ago when Sology, the energy of Sology came in. It said, this is a platform for the voice of the mother goddess. Now, to your point, let's not get too literal, people. This is bringing a coded message. This is something
Yeah.
we all have regardless of gender. And now today, for some reason, there's no coincidences. We've got 3 different people bringing it up. What's happened to him, right? So, so it's like, but to your point, and because it's happened to me, and if you've noticed, if anyone's watching, I don't drop f-bombs like I used to,
Yeah,
and
and I've
every time,
stopped too.
but every time I do, there's that little pang.
It's a
I'm like,
little pang.
yeah, because it's to me, it's okay. So to me, it's not delicate. It's not weak in any way. I'm talking about that, whatever that is, right? That's coming in.
Yeah.
It's not delicate. It's not weak. It is like as classy as you can get. It's like as elegant and what am I trying to say? Royal, regal,
Yeah, and
like
it's
you know what I mean.
kind
And
and
so so in the transition of us bringing it in, I guess that pang, those words just don't fit.
no.
They block it coming in. It
Yeah, and
interrupts it.
it's when you drop those kind of words, it's really a way to get attention, get somebody's attention, whether it's in a fun way or not. I mean, I've only ever used it in a fun way, like you, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, but it's really about this energy is really kind and compassionate and
Mm.
the purest of purest
Respectful,
love.
respectful.
It's not of this earthbound love. It's the purest of
Yeah.
purest love, and but it's also got this 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 directness and this fierceness and this
Yes. Yes.
laser
Okay.
sharp
Here we go. Yeah.
focus, but
Yeah.
still delivering it in such a
You know,
beautiful vibration.
those what are they called? Dandelions? The little
Yeah,
flower, and you do that.
yeah,
It's like that. So it's fierce and it's powerful, but it's like a dandelion. Like you can't say fuck because then it goes, oh, and and you break it up.
and I felt
I
that, and you felt that. We both went, oh,
I know. I totally get what you're saying.
yeah.
Oh, you
So,
said one other thing too. You said, oh, go ahead. You just keep going. Keep going.
well, I was just saying, it's laser focus. It's no more
Oh yeah.
dancing around and ducking and bobbing and weaving. It's really it's here to be shared, and so many are really ready to step up and step into who they are and their purpose for being here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not going to be like yours, and it's not going to be like
Yeah.
mine. um, and if somebody's telling you what it is, well,
That's like saying I'm okay.
yeah, right.
They're
or
like when we
like
started
saying,
the show. I'm okay. Oh, I know what I got it. I got it
or
figured
it's
out.
like saying, I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog is shaking like crazy over here,
Yeah.
scratching and
Yeah. That's probably he's probably coming into my cosmic pheromones are coming out because the voice thing is happening. Right. No, I'm just I'm getting silly. But listen, there was something, doesn't matter. We're almost at an hour and a half. I don't want to keep it that long. And I'm sweating like a dog over here. No offense there, buddy.
well, I hope it's not because we're moving so much energy that you're sitting there sweating.
No, but here's an interesting comment from Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe is the resident comic in the community, but he's also very, very well researched. He's a PhD, and and I mean that because he's actually been looking into this stuff for years. But he says, and this is regard to that thing that we're trying to frame up, right? He says it's directly related to an opening of the thymus gland, which is a center of spiritual immunity. The unmentionable disease is designed to obstruct this process. And whether that's, or not, I mean, but the point is there's something going on there that is the same, energetic composition as where it came from, which is also being embodied and starting to be seen in our other actions beyond the voice. And that is how we look at things, how we say things. And that's affecting, this is what we were talking about at the top of the show. We were talking about what you're observing out there and where it's taking people, which is away from judgment, allowing people to have their own experience. That's a level of trust, not in that person. It is, but first and foremost in the grand design, in the mother, in the womb, in the universe, right? And so that's what it is.
And also honoring others and their journeys, wherever they're at on those journeys,
Exactly. Exactly.
and really just being kind
Yeah.
and um, compassionate.
Yeah.
Not sympathetic, compassionate.
Yeah.
You
We're
know,
not we're not going to jump on your pity pot.
no, but you can also hold space for them to feel safe,
Absolutely. And
and
what
that's
does a
okay.
true mother do? And I'm not taking shots at anyone's mother,
If
my
if
own.
your kid wants a band-aid and you're a mom and you don't see blood, guess what? You give him a band-aid. If it's going to make him feel better, who cares? Who are you hurting?
True.
Right?
That's wisdom. But what I was going to say is, what do they do? What does a true mother do? A true mother energy holds space. The true mother energy is the one that goes, what is that saying in the Bible? Uh, you know, they do not know, or forgive them for what they do not know.
Forgive
So
them
the
for what
mother,
they do not
yeah, the
know.
mother energy just like my friends I was telling you about with their situation, they're just holding space. They're just being love, and I think that's what you're talking about with this whole getting into and it's not new age, and it's not fluffy love and light,
No, it's
kindness.
really that Magdalene energy, that
Yeah.
it really is. It's that Magdalene energy coming in and
Mm.
holding space. And I think we all, could just honor each other, regardless of where we think we should be on our journey. Just honoring and loving one another, you know.
Yes. Yes. Very cool. Very cool. I'm burning up. I'm gonna have to go take a shower until before the next show in 30 minutes. It was wonderful to see you. Where do you live? What part of the
I'm
country are you?
in British Columbia, Canada, so I'm on the west
Uh,
coast.
yeah, that's a very powerful area, right?
It is a beautiful
Vancouver.
area.
Yeah,
Lots of
Vancouver.
Sasquatch, lots of
Have
interesting
you have
nature.
you been communicating with Sasquatch, the elders?
Yes,
You have.
absolutely.
Oh my
Yes.
God, we're gonna have to do another show. Maybe late June or July,
Sure, I
and
would love to come back. I
check.
love being on here and
Yeah,
chat with you. It's fantastic. You get me
yeah,
caught up on everything because I don't really
mhm,
go on social media much, and
yeah.
I come on here and you get me all caught up, and
Here we go.
yeah, it's
So
all
it looks like a pretty. I'm looking at the clock, and it looks pretty interesting. 5:22:2020, two messages, and it's 3:32. So I don't know what's going on. I said, and it's 32 people on YouTube, 44
nice.
people on. Yeah, I mean, this is so. Yeah, these synchronicities, these validations are occurring more and more. I want to thank you personally, and on behalf of everybody, and your husband, actually.
And thank you and your beautiful wife. Oh my gosh.
You're very welcome. But I
And
want to.
and remember, the universe has a real sense of humor when it comes to
Is
giving you signs and symbols and directions sometimes. I
that
mean,
right? What does that mean?
you gotta just find the humor in it
Was
sometimes.
that a riddle? No, but I was going to say thank you for what you've been doing all these years,
Oh, thank you.
because not only has it changed people's lives in direct, in your direct sessions, but as we talked about earlier, the ripple effect. You're it's serving the collective, and to
Yeah.
have a partner who's supportive of that is just as important. It really is. So,
Yeah.
but I want to say thank you, and to many, many, many women out there who have been doing this for a long, long time
Oh,
that don't get on the internet either. So come to
yeah.
the
It's
party.
time for them to step up,
Yeah,
and
let
it's
them.
time.
That's right. It's time.
It's time.
It's time to get jiggy with it. All
Yeah.
right. You take care. Best to
Big
you and
love
your
to you.
husband and all those beautiful souls that are in your house.
Thank you. And to
Okay.
you as well.